Hi, I'm Karen Antonini, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a strawberry cream tart as well as some other Mother's Day goodies. Depending on time, I have a whole platter and some other things, but let's get started with the tart. So I've preheated my oven to 350 degrees, and we're going to start with the graham cracker crust. This is such a great, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Just like this, graham cracker crust could not be easier. So you are going to need for the crust some graham crackers, about a packet and a half, about 14 crackers. So the actual full cracker, if you're counting, like this, about a packet and a half in a box, and a stick of butter, and a third of a cup of sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and put my butter. You're just going to want to melt your butter. I always like to do it just right on the stove top. I'm going to go ahead and put that right on my burner, turn that on, and let that go while I'm explaining the graham crackers to you. So I have gone ahead and pulverized these graham crackers because it's really loud, so I'm going to spare you that noise, but I do have a quick prep. Sorry, lots of things here to show you. A little quick prep like this, which I love to use because it's a smaller blender. It might take a couple turns to get your graham crackers ground up, but it's a little blade and it really creates a fine crumbs for your crackers. Occasionally you get some in there. There are little bits of the cracker, but you can just take your fingers. I'm a huge advocate of just getting in there and getting your hands dirty. You can always wash them. So just break them up with your fingers. And so I'm going to put that in my bowl. So that is ready to go. You can also sometimes find graham cracker crumbs in the supermarket ready to go if you're pressed for time, but I always like to keep it really fresh. So I have done that myself, and it only takes a couple minutes. And then watching my butter, I'm going to add my third cup of sugar right into this bowl. Like I said, this is very easy. And what I'll need while we're waiting for that butter, I'll explain this to you. I will need a 9 or 10-inch dish like this. I have varying kinds. Some of them, the bottom comes out, but I'm going to use this because it's my last one. And you don't need to grease it because there's enough butter right in this mixture that we are going to prepare. So let's see, we're almost ready here with the butter. And this graham cracker crust is wonderful. You can use it for all sorts of tarts or pies. It's just a really versatile one. And again, I like to use fresh. There certainly are crusts pre-made at the grocery store, but if you're going to go to the trouble or the pleasure of making something special, especially for Mother's Day, you're going to want to make it really fresh, because on top, we're going to have some great berries. That's going to go on top. And I'm also going to teach you how to make a vanilla cream, which is delicious. So just waiting for this. It's almost ready. It doesn't take very long. I also like to just do this on the stove top. You can microwave, but somehow it's just a little bit better without the microwave. So I've also chosen for my Mother's Day, because I want to show you a couple of decorations and things to prep for mom, that I've chosen a pink theme. So I have my pink tulips. I've got my strawberries, a little red. They're definitely in season. Okay, here we go. And just all the colors kind of go together. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and pour the butter right into the bowl. Let's get all that butter out. And then just blend this. You're just going to make, it's going to look like wet sand. It only takes a few minutes, like I said. And if you find I see a little piece of graham cracker in there, I'm just going to crush it with my spoon. But it doesn't really matter as long as there's no big chunks. You're totally fine. And you just want to get a really good consistency. So make sure that you're just really blending it all together. The butter mixes in with the graham crackers and the sugar so that when you bake it, it sticks together. But this is really super easy you can't believe how easy it is and how good it tastes. So this is almost, let's see, again, just use your fingers. So you can see this looks like, kind of looks like really wet sand or something, dark sand, but it looks like this. It's a little crumbly. So then at this point, you're just going to take your dish and put your mixture right in the dish. And then just really pat it down. Because again, you want it to stick together. Get all of it out of my bowl like this. Okay. Oops. We don't have to look at that anymore. So I have my big spoon I'm using. It's just easy to pat this down. Just really pat it down. If you have enough, if you're using like more of a 9-inch pan or little dish, you can actually make the crust go up on the sides, or it can lay flat too, whichever you like. And then I have preheated my oven to 350, like I think I said, and then you're just going to cook this, bake it for about 10 to 12 minutes, just until it's just kind of golden. I'll show you again my crust. So here we go, just until it's golden. And then in some cases, you will put another topping on and pop it back in the oven. It will not overbake your crust. It's delicious. But in this case, we're not going to bake. So I baked it for another minute or two, so about 12 minutes. So because we're not putting it back in. So this looks great. And I can go ahead and put this, whoops, get that right off the back of my spoon. Put this in the oven, just like this, and bake it for 10 to 12 minutes. So I will do that. And while it's baking, so again, I'll just show you because in the interest of time, here's what it looks like. It's nice and golden. This is so good. I really want you guys to try this. Delicious. So now I'm going to show you how to make the vanilla cream. This is a great kind of pastry cream. You can use it in all sorts of desserts. So I am going to, let's see, heat up my milk so I can show you. I have 1 cup of milk. For the pastry cream, I need the cup of milk, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and for the cream, I'll need an egg and about 1/3 cup of sugar. All of these measurements are on my website in case I forget, KarenAntonini.com. So I'm going to go ahead and put my milk right into this little saucepan. And I'm going to heat it up, but I don't want it to scald. So I'll turn it up to like kind of a medium-high heat and then just watch. It's kind of like if you've ever made a bechamel sauce, you just want to wait until you see tiny, tiny little bubbles on the top. And you can stir it a little bit to make sure you can feel on the bottom if it's starting to burn, but just keep an eye on it. You just want it really hot. And the best way to test that is with your little finger as it heats up after a little while, dip it in and it should feel very hot. So I have that ready to go because I'm going to add this to this mixture. I'm going to take my egg, just crack it right into this pan, my other little saucepan. And then go ahead, I can, let's see, just whisk this a little bit to mix it up. You don't have to go crazy. Just whisk a little bit so it's blended. It's easier when you add your sugar and your cornstarch to this. I'll add my sugar and the cornstarch. And then just go ahead, keeping an eye on my milk. I always have to have a few things going on in the kitchen, but we have to be aware, keep an eye on it. So I'm just going to go ahead. You can see this in here, I believe, and just make sure it's all blended because the sugar and the cornstarch, you just want to make sure that it's really, really smooth. So I'm using my fork. I'm just going to get in there and kind of get all the powder off the sides. That cornstarch is really silky, and I don't know if you've ever smell it. It's the milk. Okay, turn it down a little bit. And so it's really silky. So you want to make sure you get it all. It kind of tends to stick to things If you ever spill it, it takes a long time to get off the floor, which I have done. So there we go. So that's kind of a smooth little mixture. It's nice and bright yellow like this. Stir it a little bit more. And again, I'm just going to wait for this. Dip my finger. It's actually quite hot because I have a nice low little saucepan and I see a few little bubbles forming. So I am going to get my wooden spoon, just like a bechamel. I love to use just a wooden spoon. And I'm going to slowly add, let's see, slowly add just a little bit at a time this milk. I'm just going to clean up this spoon. Actually, I have what I was looking for. Okay, so just take a tablespoon or two of the milk. I can see it's ready to go. I'm going to just reduce the heat a little. So as I'm adding it, it's not going to burn. You can feel on the bottom as it's getting hotter, you kind of feel that it's there. You don't want it to scald though. So now I'm just going to add little by little into my pot, just like this. Just add my milk until it's incorporated. I'm just going to get my little towel over here again, and just keep adding it in. And I'm actually going to put this here, and my heat is still on. So I have it on kind of a low heat at this point. I'm going to transfer this here because ultimately we're going to cook this for 5 minutes. And once all of this has been incorporated, we cook it for 5 minutes. And like the bechamel, it will thicken up. You'll get to about 2.5 minutes and you'll think this is never going to go if you've ever made risotto or bechamel, and you just need a lot of patience. But then around the 3-minute mark, 3.5, it really starts to thicken up. You can feel it on your spoon. There we go. And this is, again, really simple, but what a great dessert for brunch or after dinner or a snack to make for mom, or really any time. It's so fresh, so easy. There we go, a few little steps. And also you can make this vanilla cream ahead of time. So you can make it several days ahead of time. Just put it in a sealed container in your fridge. Keep it nice and fresh and ready. Then you will have it. So if you don't want to do it all the day of, you don't have to do that. You can also slice your berries, which will go on top of our tarts. Actually, you can, I kind of prefer to slice the berries actually the day of because they're a little bit fresher. But if you want to, you can do it. Just keep it in a really airtight container in your fridge. Okay, so we're almost ready. Once you get to a certain point, you can add a little more milk. It's all combined. There we go. And then just adjust the heat as you're getting close to finishing the rest of the milk. Let's see, we can put the rest in at this point. Now I'm just going to stir this for 5 minutes. But in the interest of time, I don't think you want to watch me stirring this for 5 minutes. So I will show you what my vanilla cream looks like. So I will just, I'm actually going to take this off so I can show you. I'm going to put my dish here too. So I have my crust because I wanted to show you. So when your crust is finished, always let it cool down. You don't want to cook the vanilla cream, just allow it to cool completely. And then you will have your vanilla cream. So I've taken it off the burner. I'll finish it later. But once that is thickened up, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Then, and once it's cooled a bit, it doesn't take that long to cool. You're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla to that. And it is so good, really tasty. Like I said, you can use it for any pastry. And you're going to get this amazing vanilla cream. I've just taken it out of the fridge a little while ago, but it softens up. You can see it's gorgeous and it tastes so good. So once that is cool as well, you're just going to want to put that right on top of your crust like this and smooth it out, of course. And you don't want the vanilla cream to be hot as well, because when you go to add your berries, it'll cook your berries. And we don't want that. They're nice and bright, so great because berries are in season right now. So just smooth it out like this. And so for the berries, as I'm smoothing this, I'll show you. Right now I found some pretty gigantic berries, but what I tried to do to slice them is try to get them kind of uniform. So if you want to make it look really pretty on the top of your tart, just try, I'll show you an example. If it doesn't work because the berries really are so big right now, that's okay too. You can just make them, you can vary the sizes. It's no big deal. It's the thought that counts. You're making this amazing dessert. So smooth it all out. Let's see. Put some of this over here. Okay. There. Okay. So we're just going to top this with my sliced berries, freshly sliced. Okay. So I'm going to add just the last bit right in the corner. There we go. And you can also leave a little edge around on the side. I've covered it up a little bit, but if you've put your crust up against the edge, you can of course leave that so you can see the pretty crust. I just went ahead and covered it on one side. And then I'm going to lay down my berries. So what I'm going to do is start at the top here because you're going to layer them and then just go around in a circle like this. So however you want to do it, if you want to just kind of put them on and arrange them, that's fine too. Or you can, oops. If you have a piece like this, you can just add it underneath. There's going to be holes, but I wanted to show you how I was cutting my berry. Let's see, where's my knife? Need a small knife here. So the way I've done this, I'll try to take one that isn't, let's see, well, you can see this because it's nice and big. So when I'm cutting my berry, it's just normally taking out the hull of the strawberry, going like this. And then you're just going to slice it thinly. So you're not having huge chunks of strawberries, but just enough so that it covers the cream and it looks really pretty, just like this. There we go. So, and if they're holes, it's totally fine. You just cover it up with other berry. They kind of overlap all the way down. There we go. So you see I have all these great little slices that are pretty thin. And the one that looks like this is totally fine because you can just layer it. And if it doesn't matter to you, that's great too. You can just decorate your tart however you want, but it will come out. I want to leave enough time to show you my other little goodies, but you get the idea. Just kind of carry on along the edge of your tart, lay your berries down, and then you maybe want to start up here and go the other side and so on. And then you would do the same in the center. You can actually use, of course, you can use raspberries. This is great for later on 4th of July with blueberries, or if your mom likes blueberries or whoever you're making this for, use any kind of fruit. You can do kiwi. Just let your imagination go and have fun with it. So I just chose strawberries because it tastes really good and they're in season. So anyway, so this is just keep going with your tart, and I'm going to show you. I have made one to show. Finish that later. And it will look like this. So it's really good. Just pop it in the fridge after. If you're going to serve it later, just cover it, wrap it nicely, tightly, and put it in the fridge, and it will be ready to go. It smells so good. Oh my goodness, those strawberries are so fresh. So, okay, so we have finished this. Now I'm going to show you, I've made a board. If you're doing a brunch for your mom, this is kind of fun. Remove some of these things so I have room to show you. It's kind of fun to do something different. So, right, because it's Mother's Day, you want to kind of treat her. So maybe do smoked salmon. This is my theme for my board. I did some smoked salmon. I did also some of these amazing macarons because they're really special. And what I've done is I've added all the toppings right here. So I'm hoping you can see this a little far away, but you can see that I have my cream cheese and I've taken a little cabbage and I just cut off the top and the bottom so it was level. So let's see without destroying everything. You can see that I made it flat and then I scooped it out. Just take a really sharp knife. Every kitchen should have just one really sharp knife, maybe two, and then just scoop out, cut off the top, scoop it out, just go slowly. And then you can put your cream cheese right on top. And the other thing I've done is added, because I love to work with dried, I have in this case, some dried rose petals, which just make it look really pretty. I'm going for my pink theme. You can use any kind of dried flowers if you want or not, or you can do some herbs. I have some great kind of grain crackers. I've got got some bagels here as well, because bagels and cream cheese and the smoked salmon. And then I've just arranged, the way to arrange it is kind of put your sweet and savories together. So I have these grapes, which are excellent in season, of course, my berries, and then the macarons and some nuts. You can sprinkle a couple of these dried petals or flowers. Wherever there's a hole, it's great. You can buy these locally. You can get fresh flowers as well. I know a lot of the shops right now have some fresh. It's kind of fun now that it's spring. We have some fresh flowers and it's fun to kind of fill in where you can. So this is a work in progress. I have my smoked salmon, my avocado, and any of the toppings that you like, some red onion, of course, my almonds, my truffle almonds, just a few kind of different things, make it a little special for mom. So we have that, and of course the bagels and some flowers. And then speaking of flowers, I'm going to show you something else that I have done. So these are flowers. They look like flowers, but they are actually little mini cupcakes. So you can make your own. I have a great recipe for cakes, or you can get the store-bought, just a box of cake mix. Especially if you're doing all this cooking and you want to make these, this is actually great for kids too. You can just get your little mini cupcake tin and line it. I've used some silver liners. You can use any color you want, any type you want, and bake your little mini cupcakes. And then to make the little flowers, I have a special tip for my icing. I put it in my little pouch, my icing pouch, and a special tip. You can use anything you want just to make a little floral design. And then what you're going to want to do to make the flower shape, or you don't even have to use the little tip. If it's too much, you can just ice it and kind of dye it a little pink or purple, whatever your color scheme is. If you don't have to make it super fancy, or if it's too hard and you're working with kids, then you're going to want to either stuff a glass vase or something you can't see through. I chose a glass vase. And then just put some of this light green tissue paper right in here. So I've done that. And then I have these giant skewers, which are great for many purposes. So I took my cupcakes, I allowed them to cool, and then I did frost them. And then what I did is I'll take one out to show you. One that's easy. Okay, so I have taken my little cupcake like this and put it on the stick. Okay, and what I like to do after I make the cupcakes is to put them in the fridge. Just get them really cold in case you touch it a little bit. You don't want to mess up your creation. So just pop it in the fridge for an hour or two, and then just place it around. It almost looks like you got this from the florist, just like this, and wrap your tissue around, and then just keep wrapping and wrapping, just so it looks like little greens around your flower cupcake. And if you have some styrofoam or even sand, you can fill your container with it so everything kind of sticks in there. And then you're just gonna arrange your floral cupcakes like this. And then be sure to make some room for your for this, because you're going to want to keep it in the fridge until you're ready, especially with this warmer weather coming. We hope that it's good like this. There we go. And then just so you're hiding any, to make it look a little more authentic like flowers, just take little bits of your tissue like this. Just be creative, have fun with this, and stick it, hard to see that, stick it in between. There we go. So we get a little green there. I fix that later. But it just looks pretty, something different. Again, it's a fun little activity to do. It doesn't take that long, and this is great. And also what you can do if you want is, if you have another jar, you can just have, you can paint it for mom. I did those last year for Mother's Day. You can just get any kind of little paints and any kind of jar. That's another great little creation. So I hope you have a great Mother's Day and treat your moms well. Okay, thanks, and I'll see you next time.